Hello and welcome to this second part of the plastic tutorial. So we're working through this plastic two-part housing. So where we left off last time is we had created the exterior shape and we had shelled it. So now we get into the plastic portions of the features. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to split this into two bodies. So I want to bring your attention to this search command up here. So if you can either search SolidWorks help, or if you click this second one, search command, you can type in a command if you don't know where it is or if you don't exactly know which one it is. But then you can click this eyeball and let go of your mouse, and it allows SolidWorks to show you where that actual feature is located. Sometimes they get pretty buried. So I was not doing anything. That's all SolidWorks pointing out that feature. So we'll go into this split command, and the trimming surface we want is the top plane. So we'll cut that part. So basically what that's doing is we're cutting it into two parts. So it says double click on the body file name or select a body callout. So we're going to select that top and right click to accept it, and that splits our body into two. So before we had a single part, but now you can see we have two separate parts split right at that surface. So when we're doing you know, parts that are kind of mated together like this, like a plastic part, you need to split a single part into two bodies. So what that does allow you to do now is you can add some appearance. So let's, just to make things a bit different, we'll make this body green, and then we'll make that top. So we don't want the whole part, we want the body, because that body is the top and the bottom now. So now we have two separate colored parts to know about it. And as usual, you're always kind of saving as we go along. So I'm going to now hide that top part and just focus on the bottom for right now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to look at putting in these features here. So these are some bosses, some mounting bosses. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sketch kind of where I want them to be. So we'll add a line. We'll make right click, select midpoint, and then we select the origin with a control select. And then we'll make them coincident. And then we'll add that dimension of 60 as per the drawing. And then I'm actually going to put some circles because I know that I'm going to need a reference circle and make life a little bit easier. So I'm just creating this sketch. I'm not going to create a feature from that circle or line. I'm just using that as a construction feature. So now I'm going to go up to, I'm going to go to fastening features, because that's where these are. So again, that's insert fastening features, and now we're going to do a mounting boss. So the first thing you'll notice is that it's already, because I had the sketch selected, it already knows I want to put that on that point, and the direction. So that direction is going to be up, and then the last thing is that circular feature that I'm going to choose is that circle that I had in there. So it kind of knew from the sketch, but you also have to select that circle for the circular edge to position your mount. So there's actually two types of boss types. There's a hardware boss, which gives you a head and a thread, or you can have a pin boss. So a pin boss is the pin and the hole, and that's more of an alignment feature, whereas the hardware boss allows you to actually put a screw, and that's what we'll do. So this one we're doing here will be the the thread. So basically the screw would thread in, a plastic cutting screw would thread into this boss. And then on the top side, we'll put this head in. So basically within this mounting boss, now there's a heap of different basically features that are dimensions that you can change on this actual feature quickly and easily. So this feature comes in with one simple feature. So the first thing I want to do is I want to select a vector to define the orientations of the pins, because I want those fins to be basically horizontal and vertical along with the part. I don't want them angled. So there's lots of different features. You can increase the number of fins. You can change a lot of different dimensions. So feel free to come in here and play around, shrinking the fins. You can change that angle. You can change a lot of things. Same with this top side. So right now it's 12 high, or you can select a face to actually make it be equal to. So 12 was the right size, but again, if you select that face, now if we were to change the height of that bottom thing, this will now follow up and down. So that's a good thing to do, is that be actually selecting faces, not using dimensions. So there's the diameter, there's all kinds of different features on, if you already know what screw, you can change that in there. So again, like in any feature, you can come back in here and finish that or fix that if you feel you need a different screw or something. So you can only do one boss at a time, but you can quickly keep that selected, select your mirror, and it's just asking me for that plane. So to get that one on the other side, you can just mirror. So with it mirrored now, let's go to the top side. So we will keep that one viewed, and we'll bring in this other one. So we'll work on this side. So I'm actually gonna section it, so it's a little easier to kind of work on everything. So we're going to now insert another mounting boss. So we'll choose that top plane, and this time we'll come right here to this, and we'll choose that second. So you'll notice right off the bat, there's a little bit of a problem. There's quite a bit of intersection, so we'll need to come into there. So we do want a hardware, and we want the head. So let's select the mounting face, and then we select that one there. So that's good, but you'll still notice that the wings are quite long. So we'll scroll down, and so C here is so maybe we'll make those 5, and then it looks a little bit more appropriate. Okay, so we've got our feature in there. It's a hardware. We're selecting to that mating face. The last thing really that we need to do is I want to get those fins aligned, and then again you can play around with any of these. So maybe instead of 60, you want to make it 30 for this one to make them a bit beefier on that top side. So that's basically choosing that face, and we're good there. So if you click OK, we have that mounting boss in there. So now what we can do is we can open up, we can hide this bottom part, so you can click on it and go hide. And there's your boss. And again, so it's got a through hole, so the idea is a screw would fit down and bottom. The screw head would bottom out. So basically tighten this feature into the bottom feature. So then we can select. So if we control select both of our plane and our boss, then our mirror will know right away all the requirements it needs, and you don't need to select anything while you're in the part or in the feature, the mirror feature. So there's that. So we just added those features. So now what I want to do is I want to add, it's called a Lip&Groove. So that's what this feature is showing. So on the bottom and on the top. So how we do that is there's a Lip&Groove feature. So let's go ahead and go fastening features and Lip&Groove. So it says select the body, you want the groove. So the groove is on the top. So we'll choose the groove and select the bottom with the lip. Okay. And then it's asking us for a plane or straight edge to define the direction. So we'll just come in here and choose that top plane. So now we're in the groove section of our process. So what it's initially asking for us is that face. So we want to choose that big face there. And then it's asking us for the edge. So you can choose the outer or the inner depending on how you want your groove. So if I choose that edge and that tangent propagate, it should be good. So you'll notice though, you got to make sure you select that edge that's actually part of that surface. So if you're not seeing this nice preview, zoom in and make sure there's two edges that are right close to each other there. So you need to be seeing this preview before you go down to that lip section. And when you choose the lip, it jumps right to that other part. And up. So I'm still on that face. So now I want to select that edge. And again, that instant I select that correct edge, you'll see a preview going in there. So just like the mounting boss, there's a heap of different dimensions that you can adjust to your liking. These are kind of the default based on exactly your wall thickness along with basic plastic part information in there that they've already kind of thrown in there that you don't have to know. So we click OK, and we see the features are in there, but we don't actually see anything. But if you do that section view, you'll notice them in there now. So a nice lip and a nice groove in there. So the last feature is just on that bottom part, and it's called a rib. So let's look at the drawing real fast. So it's not dimensioned, and the actual shape of it is not too important. I just want to show one last feature, and that's called ribs. So you'll often see ribs to strengthen up plastic componentry. So we'll go ahead and sketch on our right plane. We'll go normal 2, and then we'll actually section our part through that right plane as well. So now what I want to do is I want to basically just kind of draw put an arc in the bottom there, and just a general shape, because this rib is just for learning about ribs, so we'll make that horizontal. We will still fully define our part, or our sketch, I guess. So if I don't like the shape, I can kind of just move things around. Another thing you can do, you can right click and go select midpoint of an arc as well. Select the origin. I can do a vertical. Holy cow. So that makes my end point, or my midpoint completely vertical. So now these points are symmetric. And if you, oh no, they're not. So what's going on? So let's try that again. We'll select the midpoint, and we'll select the origin, and we'll make it vertical. There we go. So now these are basically mirrored about that origin. So we can bring this down and give it some shape. We'll make this radius 35 because we like round numbers. We're still not fully defined yet, so I think what we'll do is we'll add a dimension from this side to the bottom of this. So if I hold the control or the shift key while I'm clicking on my arc, that will make it my dimension go tangent. So again, that's clicking on this line and then holding the shift and clicking that arc, and that will give me that tangent on the arc for that dimension. Anytime you're dimensioning to an arc that and you want to get the tangent dimension as opposed to the center point, you hold the shift key down. So that's fully defined. So now with this single line, we'll get out of the section view. We can get a rib. So I forget where ribs are, but yeah, they are right here on the main feature tab. So we'll click rib. So we are going to do use an existing sketch. So we'll use that sketch. So basically all a rib does is it gives your line a width, and then it gives your, it basically brings that down to all the surfaces. So it's asking us, so we'll make 3 millimeters, and then we'll bring it down to this body. And we'll click OK. So that's that rib in there. So I sketched on that right plane. I could have made a different plane, but now I can just go ahead and select this rib. And I'm going to actually, we'll say this is 7. And then you can do the same feature the other way. And if you choose pattern seed only, that means I'm patterning only the seed, which is your actual feature that you're patterning, and we'll do 7. So there's some ribs. So ribs are really useful to create some rigidity of your part. You can also add some more features in there if you're wanting to, I don't know, mount some sort of tool or something. In this case, you can actually put some features in there as well. So we'll have a look at our top. So now we basically have created that plastic housing that has mounting bosses. We put a lip and a groove, and we put some ribs in there to mimic a plastic part. Thanks for listening.